Hi everyone, welcome back. In today's video I'm going to show you how to make one of these beaded leaves using seed beads size 11 or size 8, and it's just a basic leaf shape that's great for any autumn projects, so let's get started. So to make one of these you can use size 11, size 8 or size 6 seed beads. I'm going to show you with size 8 today so it's easy to see on camera. And you'll also need your beading thread of choice. I'm using 6-pound Fireline and a beading needle. So let's get started. So you're going to start by threading your needle, and I'm using an arm's length of thread here. Then you're going to pick up 4 of your seed beads and slide those down and leave just a few inches for your tail thread so you can tie it back in at the end. Then you're going to sew up through the first bead to make a circle. Then you're going to pick up 1 bead and you're going to be putting 1 in between each of those beads. So pick up your first bead and go straight into the next bead in the circle. Do the same again, pick up another bead and coming out of this one you're going to go straight into the next bead. And again pick up another single bead and go straight down into the next one on the side. And then for the final bead of the round, you're going to pick up 1 more bead and coming out of this one, you're going to go straight into that next bead. So you have this little diamond shape. And then you're going to move your needle through that next bead as well, so you're ready to start adding more. Okay, this time you're going to pick up 2 beads and you're coming out of that one on the side. You're going to skip over the one underneath and go through the next one on the top. So those 2 beads stack just like that. Now you're going to pick up 2 more beads, and this time you're coming out of the one on the top. You're going to skip that next one and go down through that one on the side. So now you have this, and it's sort of like a love heart kind of shape. Now you need to move your needle through the next 5 beads on the outside, so through these next 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so you're exiting out of that bead at the top. So now it should look like this, and your thread should be exiting out of the far right bead on the top row, which would be the first bead you added in the last row. So make sure that your thread's coming out of that same bead that mine is, and then pick up 1 bead and go straight into the bead next to the one you're coming out of. This time you're going to pick up 2 beads. And you're going to skip over that middle bead and go through the next one on the top row. And same as we did on the other side, mirroring the other side, you're going to pick up 1 bead. And you're coming out of this one, you're going to go straight down through that one right next to the one you're coming out of. Now you've got this shape. So this time you need to move your thread round again through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 beads until you're exiting out of the far right bead on the top row, which is that one right there. Okay, so now that your thread should be exiting out of this bead here, which is the far right bead on the top row, it's the first bead that you added in the row below. So make sure your needle's coming out of that bead and pick up 2 more seed beads, skip the one underneath and go through the next one on the top row. This time you're going to pick up 1 bead and you're going to be coming out of this one in the middle. You're going to go straight down into that one right next to it, so the bead pops between them. And again, mirroring the other side, you're going to pick up 2 beads to finish off the row. And so you're coming out of this one, skip that one underneath and go through the last one on the top row. And now you should have this kind of shape. And it should start to look like half of a leaf. And so again, as always, you need to move your thread either around the edge or across the middle until you're exiting out of the top bead on the far right of the piece. That bead right there at the top on the right. So this time I'm going to turn it over so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to move down a few beads and then I'm actually going to go across the middle of my piece, moving my thread through the beads because it gets too tight to keep going round the bottom through the same beads every time. So you just need to, it doesn't matter which beads you go through as long as you're following a thread path that already exists. So just go across those beads in the middle, following threads that you've gone through before until you get to the other side. And then when you get to the other side, you're going to move your thread right up until you're at that top bead on the right. So however you get there, it doesn't matter as long as you follow thread paths you've used before. Just make sure you're exiting out of that bead. Then you're going to pick up one bead, coming out of this one, go straight into the one right next to it. Pick up another single bead and you're going to go into that one right in the middle of the piece that's sticking up. Pick up another single bead and mirroring the other side, you're going to go into that next bead on the top row and pick up your last bead of this round. And you're coming out of this one here, you're going to go straight down into the one next to it. And now you've got this shape. And as always, you need to be exiting out of this bead on the top right here, right on the edge. So you need to move your thread either around the bottom again or across through the middle until you're exiting out of that bead. Okay, so once you're exiting out of that top right bead again, you're going to pick up two beads this time. You're going to skip that one underneath, go through the next one which is sticking up, which is on the top row. Then you're going to pick up one single bead, skip the one underneath, go through the next one on the top row. Now you're going to pick up two beads again, skip the one underneath and go through the last one on the top row. So now you should have this, and again, as always, you guessed it, you need to get your thread exiting out of that far right top bead all the way around or across the middle to get there. Doesn't matter as long as you're exiting out of that bead. So once you're exiting out of that bead on the right, you're going to pick up one bead and you're going to go straight into that one next to the one you're coming out of. Pick up another single bead. This time you're going to go through that next bead on the top row, which is right in the middle of your piece. Then you're going to pick up another single bead. And you're coming out of that one in the middle. You're going to skip the one underneath, go through the next one on the top row. And final one of this row, you're going to go straight down into the bead next to the one you're coming out of, like that. Now you should have this, and as always you need to move your thread around or across until you're exiting out of this bead here at the top on the right. Okay, so once you're exiting out of that bead at the top on the right again, you're going to pick up one bead, going to skip the one underneath and go through the next bead on the top row. And you're going to do that again, pick up one bead, skip the one underneath and go through the next one on the top row. And the same again, pick up one bead, coming out of this one, skip the one underneath, go through the last bead on the top row. And now you should have this, you've got 3 beads that are sticking up on the top, and you need to be exiting out of this one on the far right to start the next row. So move your thread around and through the beads until you're exiting out of that one. So once you're exiting out of that bead, you're going to pick up 2 beads this time and go straight into that bead which is sitting in the centre. And then pick up 2 more and go straight into that one on the end of the piece, right there. So once you've done that, that's the basic leaf shape finished, and you can add one more bead right here in the centre between those 2 beads. If you want to do that, you can circle back around and add that bead, and this is what it looks like if you add that bead. It just sort of sits on the top, and it just makes it a bit easier to attach it to other things if you need to for whatever project you're doing. So I'm going to do that quickly and then we'll be finished. So I'm just adding that last bead right in the centre so that it's easy to attach to the rest of my project. And that's the leaf finished. So now all that's left to do is tie some knots, tie off my tail thread and my working thread, and the leaf's all done. So that's our leaf all finished. So I think it's a really good basic leaf shape. It could even be a petal, or you could use it for any other design. It's just a good basic shape to have. And there you can see the size difference between the size 8 and the size 11 beads. It's quite a big difference. And so I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you were able to make one of these, and I'd love to see what kind of projects you use it in, whether you use it as a leaf or something else entirely. I'd love to see, so tag me on Instagram at Beadingbyhannah, follow me there, and subscribe here if you'd like to see more of my videos, and comment down below what else you'd like to see from me, and like this video if you enjoyed it. So I hope you enjoyed, as always, and I'll see you next time. Bye!